Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here and if you've been here before, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a clean with me in my kitchen. I'm going to be washing dishes, sweeping the floor, mopping the floor, washing down the cabinets. As you can see, my counters are in need of cleaning off, my dishes are in need of being washed. My husband and I just sort of relaxed yesterday, so none of this got done, so I'm going to tackle it all today, starting with the dishes. First, I start by loading anything that needs to go into the dishwasher into there, and once I get all the dishes that can go into the dishwasher out of the sink, I'll move on to hand washing. But I never start the dishwasher one before it's full, or two before I've gotten everything that needs hand washed out of the sink, because for some reason I can't run the garbage disposal while the dishwasher's running, and stuff seems to back up at least a little bit into the sink when the dishwasher's running. So I always make sure to load everything into the dishwasher first, and then I'll tackle anything that needs to be washed by hand. Now this is a basket I got for the sink. As you can see, it's basically a wire basket. I got it at the Dollar Tree and I attached it with suction cups to the inside of the sink. I'd prefer if it were propped up a little bit more, but this actually works well. Basically, it keeps the utensils out of the garbage disposal. So when we're done using dishes, we can put them in the sink and then just put the utensils in there, and all the food gets washed off of them just by spraying the utensils in the basket. Makes it really convenient, helps them get clean before I load them into the dishwasher, and it keeps them out of the garbage disposal. So this idea that I tried out is working really well. Now that I've loaded most of the other main stuff, I'll go on to the flatware. Some of them have fancier bottoms to them than the others, and so the forks and the spoons I will put all the way over to the left. I prop the drawer on my leg usually in order to keep it standing somewhat upright because the flatware is upright, and then I put all the knives all the way to the right. It makes it easier to get them out too so they don't get stuck. So forks and spoons on the left, knives on the right. So I can move on to the hand wash items. I'm going to clear out the racks, that way I get everything that's been cleaned and dried out of there, and I can put everything that I wash into there now. Now this little beauty I'm going to show you is my Bubble Up dish from Grove Collaborative. I absolutely love it. It has a little springy thing in it that you just put the dish soap in it and hot water, and you push down and it suds up, and it works great. Now after hand washing the plastic bowls, I decided to go ahead and start drying them and putting them away because they take up a lot of room in the drying rack otherwise, and they're pretty easy to go ahead and dry, unlike the Tupperware containers, the plastic storage containers. It's a little bit harder to dry their lids, so the bowls are easier, so I hand wash them and then dry them and put them away. Now onto the pots and pans. I have this sort of fryer type pan that I cook in to wash, and then a larger pot to wash. now it's time to tackle the placemats. My husband bought these about 2 years ago, and while they are nice and the plastic weave on them is really tight, it still does allow for liquids to get through, and so every time any of the boys would drink like strawberry flavored milk or chocolate milk and any of it spilled, it would go right through the placemat, and so I had to scrub down the table and get rid of that, and we put a tablecloth down on the table instead, so these placemats have just been waiting to be cleaned. So yesterday I put them into the sink, and I had sprayed them all with soap and let them soak a bit to try and get any of the gunk that I had a hard time getting out of the in between the weave, the squares before. And so this time I decided I was just going to go ahead and scrub them down, so I laid them all down the sink. I just squirted some soap on them, the dish soap, and just started scrubbing down each one of them and then putting them to dry on the rack next to the sink. And then I'll go back and get those off once they're dry, and I'll probably put them up for a little bit because right now the tablecloth is really nice and I don't want to put the placemats on because they don't really match. So in the meantime, I need to get them clean and get them dried and just put up and put out of the way. But right now I'm just tackling getting them washed out and trying to get any of the gunk that might have gotten into the little squares between the plastic weave out of there. Now for my counters, I'm going to use the Mrs. Meyer's multi-purpose surface cleaner in honeysuckle. I have 3 of their scents, but honeysuckle is by far my favorite. I don't know why I couldn't get the camera to focus in on the name, so it's the honeysuckle scent by Grove Collaborative, and it is fantastic. It's by far my favorite scent, so I use this on most of my counters and surfaces in the home. I'm starting to run a little bit low on it, so until I get the refill every once in a while, I will switch out to Peony or Lilac, which were 2 of the spring scents I got. But by far my favorite, freshest floral kind of light spring scent is honeysuckle. So I wipe down all the counters with that, and sometimes I'll wipe down the stove with it, but mostly I use the heavy duty degreaser by method, but pretty much everywhere else I use the Honeysuckle Multi-Purpose Cleaner by Mrs. Meyer's. Just getting the salt and pepper shakers wiped down before I put them back on the dining room table, because they can get a little bit grimy because we use them both in making our meals and we use them at the dining room table to season as we eat. So I'm just going to give them a quick wipe down before putting them on the dining room table. And I decided today not just to clean the top of the stove, but also to lift and clean underneath the main cooking surface, because I could see that there had been some food that had fallen down in there and I hadn't cleaned under there in about a month, so it was due. So I decided to use the degreaser under there too. So I'm scrubbing that down really well so that way I can get everything cleared out of there, and then I'll lower that back down and put the drip pans back in that and the burners, but I also give the top surface a little bit more of a wipe down again after I lower it. And as I'm wiping down underneath the stove, you can kind of see my baby off to the left there in the high chair. She was having her lunch while I was doing the kitchen cleaning and the scrub down on the stove. Now on to cleaning and polishing all the cabinets. I'm using the Method Hardwood Cleaner. It does a really great job of cleaning and polishing, and it has this lovely sweet almond scent to it. I actually did all of the cabinets, but for some reason the camera only seemed to get this section, so I did that, and I also afterwards washed the front of the dishwasher, but didn't seem to get that either. But I wiped all the cabinets down with the wood polish, and it worked very well. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it gave you lots of cleaning inspiration. If you liked it, please click like down below. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, please click subscribe and the little bell next to subscribe, and that'll have YouTube give you notifications of when I upload new videos. And I hope to see you in the next video.